Hey, what's up guys? Jeff Fenster here, and if you're new to the show, I want to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified on all things The Jeff Fenster Show. The link will be in the show notes below. Now, back to the show. Welcome back to The Jeff Fenster Show for another segment of Lessons Learned, where today we're going to recap the top 5 takeaways with Todd Durkin on crushing your year. Number 1, the best is yet to come.
I was always an athlete, and having great coaches when I was younger for football, basketball, baseball, all of these things I think helped formulate that mindset of, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. That being said, I certainly wasn't the most positive and optimistic person after my dad died or that, but I always intrinsically felt very, and humbly speaking, that there was something special I needed to do and create. And I've always been a man of faith. I grew up Catholic, but then went to school in the South, and I just continue to hone in on my faith and faith and faith. In my 20s, my faith deepened after me questioning a lot. After my dad died and questioning, like, God, how can you take my father? And a lot of going to, one of the pastors who mentored me during that time, my faith deepened and it deepened. So I think one of it is just my faith became stronger and stronger in my 20s. And that was a huge part of allowing me to navigate some of the toughest times, because listen, when you're going through tough times, whether you're a faith or not a faith, it's still a hard time. But it definitely kept me positive, and it was the foundational groundwork that was important to know that life's not over. As long as the sun's coming up, man, I got a shot to keep going. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, while I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing yet, I needed to keep going. And the one thing I'll say is, I don't know if any of your listeners ever do this, and I don't know, Jeff, if you've gone through this, but in my 20s, on the outside world, it looked great. I'm training, I'm playing pro football in my early 20s, and then I'm living in LA and Malibu. But on the outside world, like, all my buddies were making big money on Wall Street. And I'm like, not making that much money in the beginning. Like, I'm like, yeah, the outside world looks good, but I'm like, until I got rolling, it could be a little bit of an empty world. But I never put my value or any of that in how much money I was making. It was always about, am I happy? Am I on the right track? My 20s, I guess I was a little bit delayed in the fact that it wasn't like, hey, I need to make X amount of dollars. It was really, I got to find my bliss. I got to find and trust, like, the path that I'm on is going to lead me to tap into the gifts that I believe I have. And I didn't know what they were. Really didn't know what they were. But looking back, with many jobs, many roles, many responsibilities, it ultimately took me to San Diego to meet my future wife, to open up my gym, and even where I'm at today with all the different things I'm doing. That was kind of the impetus. Again, stem back all the way to the youngest of 8 kids, and mom and dad getting divorced, to who I am today as a man.
Number 2, always have coaches. You spend a lot of time when you play sports on those teams.
That's right. Yeah.
And those coaches, and all coaches, can really impact the youth.
Huge.
They don't always understand that impact. Yeah. Some of them do, and they take it seriously, but others don't realize that level of impact that they are helping to create the human being that will come from their time with these young men and women.
It's unbelievable. And I think that's part of the reason why, as a coach now, earlier even this year, I was doing some soul searching on, if you had to define yourself in one word, like, what's your divine uniqueness? What's your divine uniqueness? If you could say in 1 or 2 words, like, what is it that you, in my 20s, I wouldn't have been able to answer that in my 20s and 30s, I don't think, because I had a lot. But if there's one word for me, it's coach. Mm-hmm. And I coach in a lot of different realms now. Physically, I'm still training athletes, but as a life coach, and coaching my kids, like, I have 3 kids, and everything. I think it is because of who I was around when I was younger. I always had coaches in my life. To this day, I still have coaches in my life, between business coaches, spiritual coaches, and mentors. Life coach. Coaching is just part of my DNA. And it's because of the number of great coaches I had in my life growing up, and the role they played, from Coach Wolf picking me up in 8th grade and bringing me to practices, to bringing me to FCA huddles, to hopefully help grow my faith at a young age, all the way up into success in high school and college. I always had good coaches around me, and I'm fortunate for that. I think it was just, for me, that was God's plan to, hey, someday you're going to be a coach. And whether it's in this business or that business or this business, but all the quote business that I'm involved with, I'm a coach. I mean, that's what I do. When I speak now, I'm a coach who speaks.
Yep.
Right. And I'm a coach who leads my businesses. I'm a coach. So to me, the divine uniqueness, I'm a coach. That's what I do.
Well, and I love that because we've talked on this show. For those listening, you've heard, when Tim Grover was here, and Bedros and all the other previous guests. Everyone who is extremely successful, I know, has some coach.
Yeah.
And even the people I don't know, whether you're Kobe Bryant, Drew Brees, they all had coaches.
That's it.
Doesn't mean they can do the job better than you, but they can give you perspective and help shape and guide and be perspective, and even sometimes just ask you the tough questions.
That's right.
And force you to have that internal dialogue that's going to get you to where you need to go.
That's why I kind of laugh sometimes now, looking back, always 2020 again, right? Is I grew up wanting to be an NFL quarterback for 20 years, like from 5 to 25. I wanted to be well, with Drew, I've been coaching him now for 21 years, and in coaching him on, the physical side, the mental side, all those different aspects of his career. It's just funny, like God's plan wasn't for me to be the quarterback. It was to help the quarterback be successful physically, mentally, stay involved in all those things. And it's funny sometimes when you think you have life all figured out and you look back, it's always 2020. But when you're trying to figure it out and navigate it, I was like, okay, I got it. I'm supposed to coach these athletes to be the best they can be on and off the field in all aspects, hold them accountable to what that is. And I think that's one of the things I really, really cherish.
Number 3, dial in your movement and your mindset. One of my favorite LaDainian Tomlinson stories is that his mom made him do ballet.
Yeah.
And that footwork obviously is shown in how amazing he was on the football field. But you brought that to your training. That was kind of a little bit revolutionary. I mean, I'm sure there were other pockets and people doing that, but there wasn't like a YouTube thing where everyone can learn it. So you had to bring that. And I think that approach is also applicable to the mind.
Yeah.
Because you have to believe that.
I used to think, man, I wish I knew when I was playing what I'm actually teaching, right? Because you think about when I was playing, like 10 years prior to that, it was squat, lunge, bench, lat pull, tricep press down, bicep curl, and go hard and heavy.
That's right.
Like, so as a quarterback, I'm a rotational athlete, but everything was trained linearly. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I want to be strong with all those moves, but we better train with rotation. We better train diagonally. So I just started thinking like, okay, let's look at the movement of a quarterback. Now it's accepted that that's how you do it, obviously. But back then it was definitely at the forefront of how to train a rotational athlete, I'll say, between pitchers and any throwing athlete. It doesn't matter what sport. But yeah, it was definitely ahead of the curve. And even now, you're always pushing the envelope. And even now with the athletes I work with, between football, baseball, basketball, the different ones, it's what can we do to get you to the next level? I don't care if it's an entrepreneur. Like, what can we do mentally to put you in a position to say, I can do this. I'm going to do it. Because I do believe that physically, when you're in the best shape of your life, when you feel strong, there's a big crossover physically into performance in the boardroom, in the business room. I don't care if the boardroom, the business room is a field or it's actually a boardroom, literally like how you think. And that's the biggest growth I've made in the last 20 years is I've always been a believer in exercise and fitness and that. But when it comes to the entrepreneurism and really trying to impact a lot of people, I know how important that exercise, fitness, and nutrition plays. And if you're an athlete, we're going to do everything we can to dial in your movements and your mindset.
Yep.
Right. So that's still what I do.
and that was your first book, Impact
Body Plan.
Impact Body Plan, which is a bestseller.
Thank you.
And one of 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can mention.
We're working on 2024 is going to be big. I'll just say that
2024 is going to be big. What I think you bring and why you speak nationally, why you have your podcast, why you're known as a coach in all walks of life is because you do talk about the mind. And whether you're an entrepreneur or an athlete, I agree with you. If you're not taking care of your health and your wellness and you're not looking at the nutrition and how you move your body, you're going to have pain and things that distract you in the boardroom.
Yep.
Because most of us are not professional athletes, 100%. Right? And most of us have careers post. Like we talk about Drew.
Correct.
And, I do a lot of business with Drew. Drew's involved in so much business today. He's not on a football field anymore, but he still brings it.
He sure does.
He brings it. I didn't get to see him in the locker room, but I'm assuming he still brings that same level of dedication that he did on the field. It starts with taking care of yourself. For those of entrepreneurs who are sitting here saying, yeah, but I'm working 100-hour weeks trying to make my business work. I don't have time to focus on my physical fitness. I don't have, I'm a single parent or two parents struggling to pay their bills while get their side hustle going while being a present parent. How do you coach them or advise them to carve that out, to realize that you have to take some time to be selfish about your body, because without it, you're going to break down.
Yeah. Two things. And first, I want to mention something you just said about Drew, because Drew now, as a businessman, is the same as what he was when he was playing. And I've been with him for the majority of his career of 20 years. He brought the best out in everyone. When he was training with LaDainian or Sproles or Ertz or Gerald McCoy or Chase Daniel, all the guys, he made every session better because he was in that. Like it was crazy. If Drew was there, the session was going up. And it wasn't just because my intensity was up. Drew brought that intensity and heat and presence, and he always has. Why is that important? Because in the business world, when you go to your desk or you go to the boardroom and you do your work, are you making people around you better? Because the other athletes would say, man, that was a great workout. Yeah, because the people you're around and who you're training with or you're working with, it's really important, those 3, 4, 5, 8 people that you're surrounding yourself with. So when I talk about iron sharpens iron, man, who are you hanging out with? This is a really important aspect. And Drew epitomized that, right? So that was the first thing. The second aspect, to answer your question specifically, is I don't care if you're working 50 hours a week or 100 hours a week or more. You got to make sure that you are dialed in with your physical conditioning. I'll say that to anybody, and I've worked with billionaires, and I've worked with the most successful people on the planet. It doesn't matter if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And I say this, if he or she who has their health has 1,000 dreams, he or she who does not has one. And I've been with people on their deathbed. I've been with people who have just been diagnosed with diseases that are going to die, and they're going to die. And I've been with people who've turned their life around, their health and fitness, along with the athletes who are playing because they either love the game or because they can make good money at it. But it comes down to your physical health. If you don't have that, you got nothing. And I know firsthand that because I've been where I've had my health. I've been where I haven't had my health. And I've always preached the fact that you got to make sure you prioritize your physical health and your inner self. If you got your physical health and your inner self, those are the two spokes of my 10 forms of wealth. Wealth not meaning money, but wealth meaning harmony of your entire existence. But if you have your physical health and your inner self, the first 2 of the 10 forms of wealth, man, that's everything. So what I would say to that person is, you can't afford not to prioritize. Matter of fact, what I'll say is this: do it first thing in the morning. I'm not a morning person. Okay, do it first thing in the morning. Because Pastor Jeremiah, not an athlete, he's 82 years old. He's one of the clients I work with now. And Jeff, when I say this guy inspires me more than most any other human being, he's 82, just came out with his best-selling book, hundreds of thousands of copies already sold. He comes in at the worst time of the day for him because he's like, I need to prove to myself that I can still get through this and prioritize my health because I need to be at the pulpit preaching and I need to be on fire at 82 years old. Guy's been going 50 years. I'm like, I just talked to them on the way up here. Guy's like, I feel like I got to step my game up because he's 82. He's like, don't forget what I'm telling you when I'm 75, Todd. Don't forget when you're 75, what I'm telling you right now. I'm like, gosh, who you hang out with is everything. And your physical health, if you don't have that and you lose it, none of it matters. Because all of a sudden now, mentally, physically, you can't be the husband, spouse that you want to be. You can't be the parent you want to be. Your mind is full of garbage and you got stinking thinking going on. Man, to me, whatever that means. I've had 2 knee replacements. I've had injuries throughout the wazoo. Find a way to move. Your knees are hurt, work your upper body. Your body's hurt, work your lower body. You got to go out for a crawl, go out for a crawl. And I've been there too. Find a way to move your body to get your mind right because your body and your mind work together. And if you want to change your physiological state and your psychological state, you want to change your psychological state, change your physiological state. So if you want to change your psychological state, change your physiological state because when you change your physiological state, you're going to change your psychological state. all because whether it's walking, jogging, running, lifting, all these things are crucial. You have to prioritize it. And it doesn't need to be 2 hours a day. It could be literally 30 minutes a day, and you could change your life.
I agree. And I also want to add, for especially the entrepreneurs struggling with time management and struggling with the fact that they're not seeing progress where they need it in their professional world.
Yep.
By winning the day with those micro goals. So I believe in Kaizen, and we were talking off air, and you mentioned win the day, and I believe the idea of 1% better, Kaizen, and win stacking. By doing that workout, by making sure that you prioritize, you will start to see progress faster than maybe you will in your business. But that will get you the momentum to keep moving. And you'll start to see those wins that don't derail you when you're feeling like nothing is happening. You'll notice those physiological and psychological improvements and changes. Hey everyone, just wanted to take a second to say how incredibly grateful we are for all of our listeners, and I want to hear from you. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, and it will only help us make this show better for you. So any questions you have, click the link in the show notes below and let us know. Now, back to the episode. Number 4, manage your energy.
I used to try to really manage my time better. Now, to me, I love the energy management system. I really try to manage my energy. When do I need to be on energy-wise? Like, when do I have to be on, whether it be a podcast, Jeff, with yourself, or I'm going and doing a talk where my energy's got to be on point. It might be a 2, 3, 4 hour window of time a day where my energy's got to be on fire. And the other time, it might be down a little bit, but I can do more focused work on it. But it's all about energy management, knowing, hey, if I've got 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or 10 hours a day, when can I produce the highest levels of energy when I can output? So the way I structure my day now, I share it in my Get Your Mind Right book, chapter 3. I talk about how you structure your day and you put your highest energetic tasks earlier in the day when you have if that's when you have your highest level, like I do. I work out, and then everything's output in the morning. From 9 to 1 is output. We're doing this right now. It's in the morning. Highest output. I don't do podcasts, my own, late in the day when my energy is starting to slow down and tank. So how do you do that? Well, then you look at your energy management and your tasks, and you do your things later in the day that aren't maybe as meaningful. Emails. Hate emails. Emails, like, do them later in the day. I don't need to have that all day. Or like, how do you protect your energy and time to do those things that are going to help move the needle and make an impact in the world?
So you keep saying the word impact. It's on your shirt.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It's become a way of life for me. I wrote the Impact Body Plan in 2010. It was, I don't even really know. It wasn't a brand. It wasn't my soul. But when I went to publish the book, and they told me it wasn't called the Impact Body Plan, and they told me it was called something else, I said, no, it's called the Impact Body Plan. Like, sorry, we don't think it's going to be the case. And I said, okay, I don't want the book. They said, what? The Impact Body Plan came out, and over the last 13 years since it came out, it has become my way of life, and everything I do. It stands, there's an acronym: live inspired, master your craft, so play at world class, take action, condition for greatness, and be tenacious. Live inspired. In everything you do, how do you live inspired? How do you have big dreams? How do you go for what you want to do? And how do you really take your divine uniqueness along with all your gifts that you've been ordained with and live that? Master your craft is, I talk to Drew about this all the time. Like, how do you become great at what you do? I used to have the 10,000 hour rule, right? Or the 10-year rule. Now it's like, hey, every day, how do you master your craft? How do you work on the tasks that are going to be most important to move that needle? The P is play at world class. That's the mindset. Play at world class is a mindset. People listening to the show didn't listen to the show because they want to play at an average level. They believe there's something inside of them that I'm going to be special. I am special. I need a nugget or two. Play at world class is when you show up with everything you got, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired. How do you go into the habits that are necessary to help you set yourself up for success in 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, whatever that may be? Take action is, everyone wants to, I want to be healthier. I want to be fitter. I want to be a millionaire. Action is take action. Don't just say it. Take action on it. Put yourself in circles around you that are really going to help you get you to where you want to go. And then Conditioned for greatness, man. Conditioned for greatness. And I'm getting emotional with this because it's my soul, but conditioning for greatness isn't just physical. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. How do you condition yourself on all levels on a consistent daily basis so that physically and energetically, like you and your faith walk, everything that you're doing, you're in line with who you truly are, and then you can show up as the man or woman that you're designed to be. So conditioning for greatness. And the T is tenacity. It's energy, fervor, spirit. It's showing up with energy of like, hey, he's different, she's different, because you have habits that allow you to do that. So to me, impact has become a way of life. Everything I do is impact. And a lot of my programs, my impact coaching, life coaching, it's impact. It just becomes something that's been part of my DNA since 2010. And it's, heck, it'll be on my grave someday. Yeah.
Well, and what I love about it is that's your success formula. That is your core values. That is your roadmap. When you're not sure what you're doing in your next venture, your next project, you lean on impact.
Amen.
And for those watching, we talk about success formula over and over and over again. And someone with your level of success who have trained some of the world's greatest athletes, from Olympians to professional football players, building a world-class gym that you got to exit, speaking on stages all over the country, 4-time best-selling author, a podcast that's badass where you inspire and help. If you're wondering, well, how can he do it? Impact. That's the formula that you follow. And what I love about it is it's on your chest. Because I talk about formulas all the time. I think success is formulaic. And I think the people who aren't successful yet haven't figured out their formula. And I always say, if you don't have one, steal one until you make it your own.
Preach.
Right? You can work with a coach like you and get that coaching. You'll train me on how to live my life with impact.
That's it.
And now all of a sudden, your formula is my formula. And I'm going to get the results.
Yep.
Number 5, have God-sized goals.
One of the things I've been putting my heart and soul into the last few months, the last several years, I've taken over 15 years of what you say formulaic reverse engineering success into what do you want out of life? What do you want out of the year? And reverse engineering it all the way down. And I've created these systems that I use personally and those whom I coach. I used to just share it with those who I coach. And then 3 years ago, I started sharing it with my God-Sized Dreams planner. And what it really is there's different aspects. And besides just a planner, which of course it has, your 2024 calendar and all those things, your to-do list in there, really it's the coaching inside of it. And the first and most important thing right now is the annual strategic plan, your annual strategic plan. And in that plan, there are the most important questions you'll ever ask yourself about life and yourself and your relationships and your business. And of course, all the way down into who the heck you are. That first aspect is reviewing the past year, and then it goes into creating your most extraordinary year, and then creating your most extraordinary life. And these are big questions. I'll spend several hours in the month of December myself going through these questions. What I advocate in the month of December and early January is someone take somewhere as minimum of 3 to 5 hours in this month to work on these. If you work on them, your year will change. It'll be different because writing creates clarity. Clarity precedes genius. When you take your ideas and put it on paper with some very specific questions about your life and your year and your big 5 for your year and what are you going to create, and you reverse engineer how are you going to create it, who are you going to surround yourself with, and questions that are going to help you do that all the way to the theme of your year. Like, this is the theme of 2024. This is what it is. All the way down, I have 10 sections in that alone. And in it, I actually share some of my deepest writing exercises that if one chooses to do that, these are the deepest coaching exercises that I've used in my own retreats that I host on it. The first 3 sections are mandatory. Everything else is what I call a then some. If you want to do the other 7 sections, great, do it. It's awesome. But the first 3, if you want to change your life, do the first 3 sections, and your life in 2024 and beyond will be different. And then everything else, they're all my systems. My 10 forms of wealth every month. The first of the month, you do your 10 forms of wealth. I mentioned like the physical health and the inner self. There's 10 forms of wealth. Do that. It takes 2 minutes. And then you're 3 and 30. 3 goals in each of the 10 areas over the next 30 days. So on the first of the month, if you do this on January 1st, if you do your 10 forms of wealth in 3 and 30, you've got goals in each of the 10 areas of the 10 forms of wealth. Oh, Todd, I want more balance in my life. Balance is a myth. It ain't going to happen. But if you have your 10 forms of wealth in 3 and 30, and you're like, I'm going to focus on writing the book, or I want to change my financial world, and I have 3 goals this month, the next 30 days to do these goals, and you just focus on that, I promise you, your life will look different in 30 days. All the way down into what I do, your W lags, your wins, losses, aha moments from the past week, your goals for this upcoming week. So every Sunday for 15 minutes, that's my system that I use to review and then prepare for this upcoming week into my daily 5. Today, what are the 5 things that I'm going to do today to make sure I have a winning day? Because if I have a winning day, I have a winning week, I have a winning week, I have a winning month, winning quarter, winning year, winning decades, winning life. So it's all reverse engineered. The whole thing is right there. And that's my God-Sized Dreams Planner 2024. And I got to tell you, I'm really fired up because I've been working my tail off on it, my own personal one, let alone getting it all ready to go out. And now that it's out, it's going to change some lives.
Thank you for listening to another segment of Lessons Learned. I hope you learned as much as I did from our special guest, Todd Durkin. Thank you so much for listening. If you're looking to level up your relationship capital game, then take a minute and text the word Jeff to 33777 for a free copy of my Network to Millions playbook. The link will also be provided in the show notes below. See you guys next time.